I'd like to share a forgiveness practice with you. I received my personal version of this in 2023, and I was going through some rather difficult times involving family members, involving legalities, those kind of things. Lots of reasons for emotions to rise, and for emotions to be pushed down, depending on which way you deal with things. And this is my work, this is my life. I take a moment to step back and look from the perspective of the soul with everything I do. Sometimes it's really hard to do that, but I will make sure I find the moment. That's a self-discipline of mine that I uphold most of the time. And I was taken to an altar. Now this was Isis guiding me, and she told me to invite all of the souls that were involved in the situation that I was in. Now, the way that I work with my healing, with any of my soul readings, I always ask permission of the soul. And so I asked her, should I do that? And she said, yes, ask permission or invite them. So all of the souls involved in the situation, one by one, stepped forward, and we all were standing around this altar. We were standing, and it was height for us to place our hands upon. And the next thing Isis said was that it was my role in this situation to facilitate what was happening. And in a sense, it was because what she was doing was leading me through my own forgiveness practice, but in a way where I was able to be the recipient, the facilitator, and the observer. So there were three elements to it happening all at once. And this happens a lot when you travel your inner world, when you meet your guides and you journey with them wherever it is that you go. If you can maintain those three perspectives of being the recipient, being the companion, facilitator, whichever word works for you, and being the observer. So it's almost like you are watching the situation, you're in the situation, and you're receiving the situation. And so I'm telling you these bits, hoping that this video is to assist you, if this resonates, to call in and carry out your own practice. So the next thing, we all had to place our hands on the altar, and one by one everybody did that. There were five souls present here in my personal situation. And then we all had to place something on the altar. And as soon as we did that, it kind of opened up, and it was almost like it moved us to the next part of the practice. So again, that was a confirmation of the permission. And to touch on that, if this does resonate and you feel you want to explore this, permission of the soul, it will be an intuitive knowing. You'll just know whether you can proceed or not. And that takes trust in yourself. Then the next thing that happened after this altar opened up, two more souls appeared. And it was a soul that was in the world who had already crossed over, and a soul that was alive on the earth plane and of a different generation, a younger generation, say. And they were shown to be kind of holding the space in a sense. And it just showed the depth of how far and wide discord can go, and how far and wide the support is. I hope that makes sense. And then what came next was like a conversation with each of the souls. Everybody said what they needed to say. And I remember just scribbling all these notes, so it was very interactive. And that's another thing to always remember, is when you willingly allow your spiritual sacred practices to be interactive, and by that I mean you can come in and out of them, you can make some notes, you can close your eyes, you can come back in, then you're bridging worlds, you're walking two worlds, however many worlds, dimensions, realms, whichever resonates. And that's the essence that I took away from the forgiveness practice, was what actually was happening was there was a fabric, there was a pattern between all of the souls, and the fabric had got knotted, or the holes, however you would resonate to see that, like there were holes or there were knots, and they'd got too tight, they'd come too far away from the original pattern of the fabric, the path. And so what I learned from this was, instead of cutting cords, this is another way that people do deal with forgiveness and emotions and things and relationships, but what it showed me was that fabric is right there. It was designed with a divine purpose, yet the human overlay created the knots. And so through this forgiveness practice, where I went with Isis, with calling in the souls, with exploring it, allowing myself to be in those three places, feeling it in my body, writing things down, crying, doing everything you needed to do, you come back from that overlay, you come back to that divine fabric. And everything just dissolves away. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to stay there, but what it's given you as the observer, the participant, and the recipient is a feeling of that divine blueprint. That's now ingrained in you once again. You've remembered it. You've been reminded about it. And surely enough, what followed was a resolution in the real world. And so where the forgiveness came in that was the emotions that were rising. All of a sudden I had a different perspective, because I'd heard what the soul had to say. And it just changed everything. It made my body relax. It made the situation simpler to navigate. And it did, for everybody involved, create an outcome. So I just wanted to share that in case anybody is feeling the need to go through something in a deeper way, to see it in a deeper way, because many of you probably already know this, but you are very capable of doing that. We all are. Sometimes it's easier to have someone guiding you, but other times it's really, really potent to just say, I'm doing this, I'm going in, I'm speaking to my soul, I need deeper answers. and that's your intention, and you receive it. So I hope that helps. And if you would like to be guided, I am doing a version of this practice tomorrow morning, but it will be available to purchase after as well. So I've named it, rightly so, a forgiveness ritual that was handed down to me, or passed to me, guided me through by Isis and her twin sister Nephis. And their story really does have some forgiveness and understanding in it. So if you would like to join me for that, you are welcome to. I will put links with the video. Thank you.